In daily life, many quietly notice how often they say sorry for things that need no apology. You catch yourself apologizing for speaking up in a conversation, for having a different opinion, for taking a moment of someone's time, or even for simply standing in your own space. Each unnecessary sorry slips out automatically, and afterward there's a small but persistent feeling of having given something away. Over weeks and months, this pattern shapes how people respond to you. Your suggestions receive less attention. Your boundaries get tested more often. The quiet realization settles in. Constant apologizing is not making you more liked. It is quietly lowering the respect others hold for you. If this message resonates with you right now, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us bring more clear Stoic guidance to those who need it. Number 1. The hidden cost of automatic apologies. Over-apologizing trains others to see you as someone whose presence is optional and whose words are negotiable. When you apologize for expressing a clear boundary or a reasonable need, you signal that your own position is weak and open to override. People absorb this signal without conscious effort. They begin to speak over you, dismiss your input, and expect compliance as the default. This is not kindness at work. It is a gradual erosion of status that happens in plain sight. Stoicism teaches that your value does not come from external approval, but from living with integrity and self-command. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to act with dignity and purpose, never diminishing his own reason to please others. When you apologize too quickly, you step away from this principle. You trade inner steadiness for temporary comfort, and the people around you register the exchange, even if they never name it. Each unnecessary apology is a small withdrawal from your own account of respect. Others do not consciously keep score, but their behavior shifts. They make decisions without consulting you. They assume you will adjust rather than hold firm. The cumulative effect is that your social position becomes lower, not because you lack ability, but because you have practiced making yourself smaller. The modern environment rewards quick politeness, yet it quietly punishes those who overextend it. In workplaces, friendships, and family dynamics, the person who apologizes first and most often ends up carrying more emotional labor and receiving less consideration. This is observable reality, not theory. Stoics observed similar patterns in their own time and chose restraint over reflexive submission. Recognizing this cost is the first act of self-respect. It does not require becoming harsh or cold. It requires seeing that true courtesy includes respecting your own time, space, and voice as much as you respect others. Without this balance, courtesy becomes self-erasure. Once you see the pattern clearly, you cannot unsee it. Every future urge to apologize for nothing becomes an opportunity to choose differently. This choice is where status begins to rebuild, quietly and steadily, through consistent self-possession rather than performance. Number 2. Stoic self-respect and the myth of constant harmony. Epictetus taught that we have power over our judgments and actions, not over how others perceive us. Apologizing too fast hands that power away by letting external comfort dictate your behavior. When you rush to smooth every minor friction, you train yourself to value harmony above truth and above your own reasoned position. This undermines the very foundation of Stoic freedom. Self-respect in Stoicism is not arrogance. It is the calm knowledge that your rational mind and virtuous effort have inherent worth. By apologizing for normal human actions, stating a preference, arriving with a different viewpoint, or simply existing without deference, you communicate the opposite. You signal that your mind is secondary to the comfort of the moment. Others internalize this message faster than words can explain it. The desire for constant harmony is understandable, yet often masks fear of disapproval. Stoics confronted this fear directly. They asked whether pleasing everyone was possible or even desirable. The answer was clear: it is neither. Attempting it only produces a diluted version of yourself that commands less genuine respect. Maintaining dignity sometimes means allowing small discomforts to exist instead of erasing them with a sorry. When you do this consistently, people adjust their expectations. They begin to treat your words and presence as more solid. This adjustment happens naturally once your behavior stops undermining your own standing. Inner calm grows when you stop managing every reaction of others. You become freer to focus on what is truly yours to control: your effort, your honesty, and your consistency. This freedom is the soil in which real social status takes root, because status follows strength, not appeasement. The Stoic path here is practical and unglamorous. It is the repeated decision to pause before apologizing, to assess whether an apology is actually earned, and to hold your ground with quiet steadiness when it is not. Over time, this practice reshapes both how others see you and how you see yourself. Number 3, how others perceive you when you apologize excessively. People form impressions through patterns, not single events. When your pattern includes frequent, unnecessary apologies, they perceive lower confidence and lower value. This perception influences invitations, opportunities, and the seriousness with which your contributions are taken. It operates below conscious awareness for most, yet the behavioral changes are measurable in daily interactions. In relationships, the partner or friend who receives constant apologies begins to assume responsibility belongs mostly to you. Conflicts become unbalanced. Your needs receive less airtime because you have trained the dynamic to prioritize peace over fairness. Stoicism urges us to examine these imbalances honestly rather than maintain them for the sake of appearances. At work or in social circles, quick apologizers are often liked, but rarely promoted or deeply consulted. Respect flows toward those who demonstrate self-possession. When you apologize for having standards or for occupying space, you remove yourself from that category. Others may still enjoy your company, but they will not look up to you or defer to your judgment as readily. This is not a judgment on your character. It is the natural consequence of signals sent and received. Changing the signal changes the outcome. Stoics were realists about human nature and social dynamics. They understood that dignity must be guarded because others will test whatever weakness is shown. The quiet dignity of measured speech and measured apology commands attention without demanding it. People lean in more when they sense there is substance behind the words. They hesitate before dismissing input that has been offered without reflexive self-deprecation. Rebuilding perception takes consistency rather than dramatic gestures. Each time you refrain from an unneeded apology, you deposit respect into the account others hold for you. These deposits compound, gradually shifting your place in the social order. Number 4, practical Stoic discipline, replacing the apology habit. Start by observing the urge without immediately obeying it. When the word sorry rises, pause and ask whether harm was truly done or whether you are simply seeking to reduce tension. This single pause is a Stoic exercise in self-mastery that builds over weeks into a new default. Replace many apologies with neutral acknowledgments or direct statements. Instead of "sorry I'm late," try "thank you for waiting." The difference is subtle, yet powerful. One diminishes, the other maintains equality. Small shifts like this accumulate into a stronger presence that others feel immediately. Set clear internal standards for when an apology is warranted: actual harm, clear wrongdoing, or broken commitment. Everything else falls outside this boundary. Holding this standard protects your status while still allowing genuine accountability where it matters. Stoics valued precise judgment over emotional reactivity. Practice measured silence after stating your position. Do not rush to soften it. The discomfort you feel is the old habit dying. Allow it. On the other side of that discomfort is the calm confidence that comes from knowing your words stand on their own merit. Use Stoic premeditatio malorum in social situations. Anticipate moments where you would normally apologize and decide in advance how you will respond instead. Mental preparation turns reactive patterns into deliberate choices. This is how character is built. Review your interactions weekly with honest reflection. Where did you yield unnecessarily? What was the result? Adjust. This ongoing discipline separates those who understand Stoicism as philosophy from those who live it as daily practice. The latter are the ones whose status rises naturally. Number 5, rebuilding lasting status through Stoic strength. True social status in a Stoic sense is not popularity, but the earned regard that follows self-command. When you stop apologizing for your existence and your reasoned choices, you align your behavior with this principle. Others sense the alignment and respond accordingly over time. This strength is calm, not loud. It shows in the way you listen without defensiveness, speak without qualification, and hold boundaries without explanation. People trust and respect those who demonstrate such steadiness because it is rare and reliable. The long-term reward is relationships built on mutual respect rather than one-sided accommodation. You attract and keep connections with those who value substance. You navigate challenges with less friction because others already know where you stand. Stoicism reminds us that external status is ultimately indifferent, yet living with dignity improves the quality of our days and the impact we have. By ending the habit of fast apology, you remove a quiet drain on your energy and open space for greater focus on virtue and excellence. Carry this practice forward with patience. Change is gradual and tested repeatedly. Each successful moment of restraint strengthens your resolve and reinforces the new pattern. In time, the old urge to over-apologize fades, replaced by the natural poise of a mind that knows its own worth. This is the Stoic way, not seeking status directly, but becoming the kind of person to whom status is given without request. The difference is everything. Live it consistently, and your social world will quietly reorganize around the stronger version of you that emerges. Number 6. The difference between genuine accountability and weak apology. Genuine accountability requires clear judgment about when a real wrong has occurred. It is a measured response to actual harm or failure, delivered with dignity and followed by corrective action. Weak apology, by contrast, is reflexive and cheap. It is offered for things that are not wrongs at all, diluting the power of sincere responsibility and training others to expect submission instead of strength. Stoics drew a sharp line between what is under our control and what is not. Apologizing for your emotions, your preferences, your time, or your honest opinion falls outside virtuous accountability. It is self-betrayal disguised as politeness. True integrity means owning what you actually control and refusing to own what you do not. When you apologize unnecessarily, you weaken the currency of future genuine apologies. People stop trusting their weight because they have seen them spent too freely. A Stoic approach preserves the seriousness of real accountability so that when it is needed, it carries full authority and respect. Observe the motivation behind each urge to apologize. If it comes from fear of tension or desire for approval, it is likely unnecessary. Replace it with clear, neutral communication that neither diminishes you nor attacks the other person. This preserves both your status and your character. The disciplined person apologizes rarely, but meaningfully. This rarity makes each instance powerful and memorable. Others learn that your words have substance and that your accountability is serious, not performative. This is how lasting trust and respect are built. Living this distinction brings quiet confidence. You no longer scatter your self-respect in small, unnecessary payments. Instead, you stand firmer in every interaction, knowing that your apologies, when given, reflect strength rather than habit. Number 7. Lessons from ancient Stoics on social power and dignity. The Roman Stoics operated in high-stakes environments filled with politics, status games, and social pressure. They maintained dignity not by pleasing everyone, but by refusing to diminish their reason for social ease. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius all demonstrated that true influence flows from inner command, never from constant appeasement. Epictetus, who had been a slave, understood power dynamics deeply. He taught that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Over-apologizing is exactly that consent. It hands others permission to treat your presence as secondary. The Stoics rejected this path in favor of unapologetic self-possession. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet wrote daily reminders to avoid seeking validation through flattery or excessive accommodation. His private meditations show a man committed to dignity in every role: emperor, judge, father, and friend. He understood that lowering oneself repeatedly erodes authority in all areas of life. These philosophers did not advocate rudeness. They practiced courteous firmness. They spoke truth directly when necessary and remained silent when words would only serve to weaken their position. Their approach earned genuine respect rather than temporary liking. Modern life presents similar social pressures, though in different forms. The Stoic response remains the same: protect your rational dignity. Refuse to apologize for existing with standards, opinions, and boundaries. This practice, repeated consistently, elevates your standing naturally. The enduring lesson is clear. Social status follows those who value their own mind and time. When you internalize this, apologizing too fast becomes obviously self-defeating. You choose instead the quiet power that comes from measured words and steady presence. Number 8. Reconnecting with your own worth. Constant apologizing quietly signals to yourself that your needs, opinions, and time are less important than others. Over months and years, this repeated signal shapes your self-image. You begin to feel smaller, even when alone. Stoicism calls this a corruption of proper self-regard. Your worth does not depend on keeping every interaction frictionless. It rests on living according to reason and virtue. When you stop the habit of fast apology, you reclaim the internal sense that your perspective has value and your boundaries deserve protection. This internal shift is the foundation of authentic status. Many people confuse being agreeable with being good. Stoics rejected this confusion. Goodness includes justice toward yourself as well as toward others. Apologizing for reasonable actions violates this justice and slowly disconnects you from your own dignity. Rebuilding self-worth through this practice feels uncomfortable at first because it challenges long-standing patterns. The discomfort passes. What remains is a calmer, more solid sense of self that no longer requires constant validation through excessive politeness. Each time you refrain from an unneeded apology, you cast a vote for your own value. These small votes accumulate into a powerful internal conviction. Others eventually sense this conviction and adjust their behavior to match it. The Stoic path returns you to the simple truth that you are a rational being with inherent dignity. Guarding that dignity in daily interactions is not selfish. It is the necessary condition for bringing real value to your relationships and communities. Number 9. The long-term effects on career, relationships, and inner peace. In professional environments, those who apologize excessively are passed over for leadership roles and serious responsibilities. Decision-makers unconsciously gravitate toward people who demonstrate self-assurance. Years of fast apologizing can quietly limit career progression, even when competence is high. In personal relationships, the pattern creates imbalance. Partners and friends learn to expect you to yield. Resentment builds on both sides. Yours from feeling unseen, theirs from carrying unbalanced emotional weight. Breaking the habit restores healthier dynamics based on mutual respect. Inner peace suffers under constant self-minimization. The mind grows weary from managing every small social tension. When you stop over-apologizing, mental energy is freed for deeper focus, creativity, and presence. This is one of the most immediate Stoic rewards. The cumulative effect across life domains is significant. Stronger professional standing, more balanced relationships, and greater inner calm all flow from the same practice. Respecting your own position as much as you respect others. Stoicism views these outcomes as natural consequences of aligned living. When your actions match your rational nature, external life tends to improve even without direct pursuit of status or approval. Over a lifetime, the person who masters this principle moves through the world with greater ease and impact. Opportunities find them more readily. Conflicts resolve more cleanly. Most importantly, they maintain self-respect regardless of external results. Number 10. Building the new habit through daily Stoic practice. Begin each day with a clear intention. I will speak and act from self-respect today. This simple morning reminder sets the tone and prepares you for moments when the old habit wants to surface. During interactions, practice the pause. Feel the impulse to apologize. Notice it. Then choose a neutral or confident response instead. Repetition turns this pause into automatic strength rather than automatic weakness. Keep a brief evening reflection. Ask yourself, where did I hold my ground today? Where did I yield unnecessarily? Honest review accelerates learning and prevents backsliding. Use Stoic reminders during challenging moments. Recall that your judgment and integrity matter more than temporary social comfort. This mental anchor prevents emotional reactivity from driving your words. Extend the practice gradually. Start with low-stakes situations and move to more important ones as your confidence grows. Consistency across time matters far more than perfection in any single moment. In the end, this becomes part of your character. You no longer think about apologizing too fast because the habit has been replaced by natural dignity. Your social status rises not as a goal, but as the natural result of living as a person who values their own reason. This is the Stoic way: practical, steady, and deeply effective. Apologizing too quickly is not a harmless habit. It is a silent tax on your dignity that quietly lowers your social status over time. Every unnecessary sorry signals that your words, needs, and presence are optional and open to override. By choosing restraint instead of reflexive apologies, you stop leaking power and begin reclaiming the quiet authority that others naturally respect. Stoicism does not ask you to become harsh or arrogant. It simply demands that you stop diminishing yourself for the comfort of others. Observe the urge, pause before speaking, and offer an apology only when it is genuinely earned. In doing so, you align your actions with reason rather than fear or habit. As you practice this discipline, your relationships become more balanced, your contributions carry greater weight, and your inner peace grows because you are no longer managing everyone else's comfort at the expense of your own. True social status in the Stoic sense is never borrowed through excessive pleasing. It is earned through self-command and integrity. When you stop apologizing for simply existing with opinions, boundaries, and standards, you step into a stronger version of yourself. People will listen more closely, value your presence more deeply, and treat your words with greater seriousness. This change does not come from dramatic gestures, but from steady, daily self-respect. The path is practical and within your reach right now. Speak with measured confidence. Hold your ground without unnecessary explanation. Respect others without erasing yourself. Do this consistently, and your social world will quietly reorganize around the stronger, calmer person you become. You already possess everything required: reason, dignity, and the ability to choose. The only question is whether you will use it. Start today. Let your actions show the quiet strength and self-respect that define a Stoic life. This is how lasting status is built, not by seeking it, but by becoming the kind of person who naturally commands it.